At just 33 years old, a life that once brought laughter to millions came to a sudden and heartbreaking end. The same child who once lit up Nickelodeon screens with innocence, talent, and joy was gone in an instant, taken in a tragic hit-and-run that shocked fans and reopened old wounds about how quickly fame fades and how fragile life truly is. This is the untold story of Kianna Underwood, a former Nickelodeon child star whose legacy deserves to be remembered far beyond the headlines. Kianna Underwood became a familiar face to an entire generation during the golden era of Nickelodeon. As a child, she appeared in popular shows like All That and Little Bill, programs that defined childhood for millions of viewers around the world. Back then, Kianna wasn't just acting. She was becoming part of pop culture. Her energy, confidence, and natural screen presence made her stand out, even among an ensemble of talented young performers. For many child actors, early fame opens doors. For others, it creates pressures few people can understand. Kianna's early success placed her in the spotlight at an age when most children are still discovering who they are. While fans saw laughter and scripted smiles, behind the scenes was a young girl navigating an industry that moves fast and rarely slows down for anyone, especially not children. As Kianna grew older, her appearances on television became less frequent. Like many former child stars, she began stepping away from the spotlight, choosing a quieter and more private life. This transition is rarely easy. The world remembers who you were, while you're trying to figure out who you're becoming. Sources close to her later years describe Kianna as someone who valued independence, personal growth, and staying grounded despite her early fame. Her lifestyle in adulthood was far removed from the glitz people often associate with former TV stars. Kianna reportedly lived modestly, focusing on everyday life rather than chasing constant media attention. Unlike many child celebrities who attempt dramatic comebacks, she seemed content staying out of the public eye, maintaining close relationships and prioritizing personal peace over fame. When it comes to Kianna Underwood's net worth, estimates have varied widely over the years. As a child actor on Nickelodeon, her earnings were respectable but not comparable to modern streaming-era megastars. Industry experts often point out that child actors from that era were rarely set up for lifelong wealth unless their careers continued well into adulthood. Kianna's net worth was believed to be modest, reflecting her limited years in television and her decision to step away from the industry. However, her true value was never financial. It was cultural, emotional, and deeply personal to those who grew up watching her. Then came the tragedy that stunned everyone. In Brooklyn, New York, Kianna Underwood's life was cut short in a hit-and-run incident that left more questions than answers. The suddenness of her death sent shockwaves through social media, especially among fans who hadn't realized how deeply her childhood performances had stayed with them. The loss felt personal. It wasn't just the death of a former actress. It was the loss of a shared childhood memory. Her passing reignited conversations about road safety, accountability, and the vulnerability of pedestrians in major cities. But beyond the circumstances, what truly resonated was the sense of unfinished chapters. 33 is an age where life is supposed to be expanding, not ending. Dreams, plans, and second chances were all taken away in a single moment. Kianna Underwood's legacy lives on in reruns, clips, and the emotional connection fans still feel today. She represents a generation of child stars who gave joy to millions, often without realizing the lasting impact of their work. For many viewers, seeing her on screen was a reminder of simpler times, Saturday nights, family televisions, and laughter without responsibility. Her story also serves as a quiet warning about how easily the world moves on from former child stars, even as their work remains immortalized. Fame is loud when it arrives, but silence often follows when the cameras turn away. Kianna's life reminds us that behind every childhood icon is a real person, with real struggles, hopes, and vulnerabilities. In remembering Kianna Underwood, it's important to honor her not just for how she died, but for how she lived. She was more than a headline, more than a former Nickelodeon star. She was a young woman who once brought joy to millions, and that joy still matters. As fans continue to revisit her work, share memories, and express condolences, one thing becomes clear. Kianna Underwood may be gone, but her presence hasn't disappeared. Her legacy survives in the laughter she created, the childhood she touched, and the reminder that every life, famous or not, deserves dignity, remembrance, and respect. Rest in peace, Kianna Underwood. Your light may have faded too soon, but it will never be forgotten.